Harrison Planning Commission. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we take a 2-minute break to put the slide in the computer?
Oh,
Real quick?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
We're taking a 2-minute break. Do the roll call, please.
Mr. Graff,
Here.
Mayor Grubbs,
Here.
Ms. Knock,
Here.
Mr. McMurdo,
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Over here.
All
You
right.
gotta start talking that way.
Well, I was thinking about moving the podium over there. Yeah.
All right. Next on the agenda, we need to approve the minutes for July 8th. May I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
Minutes are approved. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Mayor Grubbs,
Yay.
Ms. Knock,
Yay.
Mr. McMurdo,
Yeah.
Mr. Wilson,
Yeah.
Mr. Graff.
Yay.
All right, now the minutes are approved. Moving on to new business. First on our agenda is the record plat approval for replat lot 32.
The reason for this request is the applicant is requesting approval to define 2 transferable parcels within Lot 32, Section 1, Block G of the Trailhead Development. This will allow the sale of each individual unit of a 2-unit dwelling. The new division line will be established within the common wall of the unit and has been field located to verify its location. The updated lot consists of the residential dwelling unit and the property up to the original lot line. Upon approval, the record plat will be recorded at the Hamilton County Recorder's Office per typical subdivision procedure, and deeds will be recorded to transfer the lots as sold. This application has been reviewed and approved by the Harrison Zoning Department and the City of Harrison engineer with no conditions recommended.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Ms. Knock,
Yay.
Mr. McMurdo,
Yay.
Mr. Wilson,
Yay.
Mr. Graff,
Yay.
Mayor Grubbs.
Yay.
It is approved. Moving on, we have, the next is zoning and use permit approval for 217 Harrison Avenue.
This application is coming before Planning Commission because the applicant is required to submit a zoning and use permit to open a business in the downtown redevelopment district, and such permits cannot be issued until approved by Planning Commission. The intended use, if this request is approved by Planning Commission, the applicant intends to open Perfect Little Peach Boutique, specializing in women's clothing, fashion accessories, and permanent jewelry services. The boutique will offer a curated selection of stylish and seasonal women's apparel, handbags, hats, and accessories with a focus on high-quality, trend-conscious merchandise. In addition to retail sales, the boutique will provide permanent jewelry services, custom-fit welded chains, bracelets, anklets, necklaces, and rings that are class-free and designed for long-term wear. This service will be performed on-site using a small professional-grade welding tool in a designated and ventilated area. Occasional in-store events such as styling nights or pop-up collaborations may be held to promote community engagement and sales. The boutique will have 1 to 2 employees on site and operate Tuesday through Thursday from 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. and Friday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. The building is a 2-story building with living space on the 2nd floor, and the applicant intends to use the entire bottom floor to operate the retail space. No outdoor lighting plan is proposed. The existing landscaping will remain on the property and is in keeping with the design standards of the DRD. On-street parking is available in front of the building, and public parking is available behind the building. No proposed signage was submitted with the application at this time. The application has been reviewed by the Harrison Planning and Zoning staff and meets the Harrison zoning regulations per section 1143C5, which states sale of goods and products at retail. The application also meets the intention of the downtown strategic plan. If Planning Commission approves the application, the Building and Zoning Department would recommend the following conditions. All waste associated with the business shall be disposed of using residential style waste containers. Any dumpster that is used in the future shall require review and approval by the Building and Zoning Department. Any future structural interior or exterior improvements will require a building permit presented to the Building and Zoning Department for review and approval. Any outside design changes, such as painting of the building or trim, will require a zoning permit filed with the Building and Zoning Department to ensure that they are in keeping with the historical nature of the downtown redevelopment district. Any future signage will be submitted to the Building and Zoning Department for review and approval according to the Harrison zoning regulations, and any future landscaping will be maintained in accordance with the Harrison zoning regulations. Our applicant, Brittany Fry, is here if you have any questions for her.
Any questions?
I move for approval.
A second.
Scrubs? Are you wearing scrubs? Really? Now you're gonna open your own business on top of it? Downtown? Very good.
She has a well-established store in Westwood. I actually was there again this weekend. Yeah. It's very nice, very cute, so highly popular over there. So we have a motion and a second. Mr. Graff?
Yay.
Mayor Grubbs?
Yay.
Ms. Knock?
Yay.
Mr. McMurdo?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Motion approved.
That was a really enthusiastic yay on my part. I can't wait for you to open.
I'm curious, are you married? Do you ever holler at your husband? Act like I'm your husband. Speak up.
All right, the use permit has been approved. The next thing on our agenda is the PUD conceptual plan presentation for 10281 Harrison Avenue.
Joey Madden is here to present his proposed plan.
I don't know if I was getting all the details or not. Scoot closer to Jerry.
I can hear you now.
All right. Well, kind of a backstory. I guess the surprise part of it's kind of not there now since it's up there, but that's okay. So for about 7 years, 6 or 7 years, my wife and I have been kind of tracking everything on Facebook of everything everybody says they want in Harrison. And it's just saying, we need this, we need this, we need this. And trying to take note of what has been the most popular things that people have said. And about 4 years ago, we started looking heavily for land. We thought we had a deal worked out with the land across from Kroger, but Midland was able to beat us out on that one and beat us to the punch with their conceptual design, but that's all right, mine's better. But so in all that, we have been searching high and low, and actually we were able to get, it's the 5-acre tract and the 10-acre tract between West and Kilby under contract there. And essentially just there's so much growth right now in Harrison. We all know that, but I think that the mass exodus that everybody's aware of, and people from Ross, Fairfield, Coleraine, Western Hills that are moving out here, it's going to continue. And I think the biggest frustration that I think most people have is if they're going to go shopping somewhere, they're going to Westchester, they're going to Florence or Coleraine, and I think it's pretty incredible how many people the pool that Harrison gets is, it's well over 150,000 people when you start mixing in Brookville and Batesville and far out in Indiana and north of, it's unreal. So the development going in across from Kroger is going to be phenomenal. The users there are going to be, some of those users are on that list of who people have been, the community have been asking for to build stores here. But essentially ours is our development would be a continuation of that development. And I can't disclose all the users that we are working with on this, but I can say that they're all uses that, especially the outlots and the anchor, are ones that have been probably mentioned, I would say, on probably a weekly or bi-weekly basis on Harrison Happenings and things like that. So this is kind of our concept and that we're proposing, but it would be 3 outlots. One, I can say, would be a type of restaurant that has been asked for about 20 years, as long as I've known people in Harrison. The other one is I can at least disclose part of this. The other one is a drive-through fast food restaurant that pretty much everybody would put at the top of their list, that we were able to get locked in. And but with that, this would actually be a mixed-use development, which Harrison has actually, I don't think, has ever done a mixed-use development before. With all this, the mixture of the high-end apartments that has Harrison right now, if you need an apartment, you likely are not going to find one, but Harrison has no Class A apartments. And if most of the young people right now, they graduate from Harrison, they also graduate from Harrison High School, they also graduate from Harrison because there's no apartments right now. If you need an apartment, it is very scarce, but there are no high-end apartments, there are no Class A apartments anywhere close to Harrison, and it is definitely a huge need on feasibilities and things like that. Harrison is actually the second strongest area in Cincinnati for Class A apartments, which I had no idea until we started researching. But ultimately, this is our concept that you see up on the screen, and the final PUD plan would be tweaked a little bit, likely, but I do want to get feedback and answer any questions and that I can. But with all the development side of things in Harrison in totality, right now, if you look at Harrison, the north side of New Haven, off the exit, can never be developed for anything retail right now. I mean, the way it's set up now, that time has come and gone. The land behind Home Depot is no longer going to be developed for retail. This and the lot across from Kroger are really the last retail commercial spots in the corridor. Everything on here will be extremely high-end finishes. They'll all be brick masonry, a tremendous amount of landscaping. It'll pair really well with the development across from Kroger. I do have some concepts on the apartment side so far. We don't have the renderings back yet on the anchor and those yet, but I will have those by the time the PUD is presented. I can kind of show those real quick. This is kind of the initial concept for the multifamily that we are working on there. And the other side of that too is with this concept, because I know everybody's like, well, why can't it all be retail? The issue is that corner, you can't fit a lot of things on that right side compared to that left side where it jets back. So the right side actually fits perfectly for that, but there's not a lot of the people that want to go on the frontage, they don't want to go behind it. They don't want to sit behind a restaurant or anything that's on Harrison Avenue. They want to have that visibility. So it's very difficult to fill those types of spots on a development like this. But so these are kind of the concept. It'd be all masonry, and then LP, or the really the nice. It looks like it's like a faux wood type siding that would go on for the accent. But there'd be majority would be 2-bedroom, but we will have we found in our research the big need for the 1-bedroom type units, specifically for college graduates, high school graduates, things like that need an apartment. So it'd be a good mix, and there'd be some 3-bedroom as well.
How many units?
Right now we're I think 196.
And we've had conversations. I completely understand the need for apartments in our community. My own kids left Harrison, and I told you that. My own kids left Harrison because they couldn't find an apartment that they were willing to pay money for. But we do have the moratorium in place. I understand you're proposing it as a mixed-use development.
Right.
But do have the moratorium in place primarily because of infrastructure improvements that need to take place, especially in that corridor that you're talking about. Does this take into account the need for the expansion of that road to a 5-lane road out front? Because that Harrison Avenue does, it needs to be expanded to 5 lanes just like it is up in front of Kroger's.
Right, I think the initial, from discussion with JMA, is that Kilby to, pretty much to New Haven will be all, right, 5 lane is the goal.
That's, if I get what I want, then that would be the
So,
way it plays out.
because I don't know timing on some of the traffic changes that are coming through that corridor, but that's one thing that we're still working, we have to meet with JMA on to discuss is some of those changes that are coming through there, but it has to happen regardless, but this would likely speed that up, because that would be part of the development, because there's just a strong
And
possibility.
proper setback of the entire development will allow for the expansion.
Yeah, so those frontage lots take into consideration that being widened,
Okay.
yeah.
Did you cut down on the number of apartments? For some reason,
Yeah,
some reason I remember 265 or 69.
Yeah, we were gonna wrap the back with it, but, after we kind of looked at it and went over the layout options, the idea of putting in that corner, because it's so difficult to get a user for that back corner. And then since that conversation, we had 3 phenomenal stores come to us that can't, one of them wanted to go in where, across from Kroger, but they don't have room. And 2 of the other ones that approached us because of the development coming across from Kroger. That's where we decided to change that layout.
So not counting the number of cars or vehicles, whatever you want to use, that will be coming into the restaurants or stores or whatever else is going to be there, you're looking at probably close to 300 cars in the apartment area?
Likely, yeah, I'd say about 250, 300, around there. And then part of the outlots, which again will be detailed more in the PUD plan, is it'll be more of a, similar to like Liberty Way, where if you got the parking kind of built into the streets, that kind of thing, like on the outlots, that would be included into the outlots as well. So there's more inline parking, like what you see up against the apartments there. That would be a lot of what you see on this side as well.
Obviously, you'll come up with a prettier conceptual.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This is the most basic one I've ever seen come out
Yes.
of your office, so.
I had a nicer one, but it had a lot more apartments on it, so I had to back a little bit, so. But I do like, honestly, this is one of those developments where I care, I mean, this has a lot more care on it than anything I've ever done. Like, I want this to be the nicest development in Harrison. And I just, again, I don't think the community understands, because, you know, everybody's like, well, what about the building behind Valley Escondido? I mean, that'd be a great building to develop if they would sell it. They won't sell it. And that building is in horrible shape, but they won't sell it, you know?
If I could get them to move, I'd be in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's, you know, all these people have all these ideas, but there's just, it's not possible. I mean, this is, I mean, people, I hound people on the phone trying to get them, they won't, some people can't make them sell their property. And this is literally the last piece of the corridor that's in the city limits. But there's a few other pieces, but the problem is on Harrison Avenue especially, and we've talked about before, is from New Haven to Stone, I mean, there's so much, everything's spot developed through there. That's why you have 1,000 curb cuts, which I know you love. But that's just, it's just piece by piece. So, you know, you can go in and by right, yeah, you could split this thing up and put 6 different things in, but by controlling that development, it's what needs to happen to match Kroger, to match that center, and then to match the new one across from there, and kind of all blend together. But the assumption is too on the track that there will be a light at that
I was gonna.
that intersection.
With the moratorium that's on, because you know it can't be, the apartments can't be built for at least 2 years. How does that affect your position?
Not so much. I mean, from the conversations with the law director and our attorneys was that in legally the moratorium is not applicable to a mixed-use development, since it's still technically commercial, and it's under that 60-40 threshold, or the 60% commercial, 40% residential. But in all reality, with this moving forward, it's at least 3.5 years before these would even be done. And apartments are like this, these kind of apartments are, they don't build fast.
Here's my
Would you
problem. I don't know if you're looking for us to approve all of this, including the moratorium, because I don't feel comfortable approving the apartments on any vote we have here,
Right.
not now.
Which I think this is just conceptual.
This
just
is just a
to-
presentation.
Huh?
This is just a
He's just
presentation,
looking for our feedback.
just looking for feedback.
That way we know how to.
You're getting mine.
Um,
I mean, I like the idea of the storage you're gonna have in the front and that,
Mm-hmm.
and a anchor, but I just, couldn't consciously go for apartments right now.
Right. And I guess too, that's something we discussed a little bit too, is the potential of the conditions in place of an approval with condition of the construction doesn't start until the moratorium is lifted, things like that, which we're perfectly fine with. Again, that's kind of ancillary to the development. The priority is the anchor and Outlot 3 are the absolute top priorities, and Outlot 2 those are the ones that are the main, that everybody wants, that we would want to get in quickly. Like I said, that's just kind of ancillary, but it's just hard to find those users to go behind there, because it's really kind of odd to do more boxes across there with the outlots. It's almost too shallow for parking, to get the drive lane and parking and the building to do anything sizable. Because we don't want you don't want a bunch of small box users, because we have enough of that now. I mean, granted, they perform well. I mean, the Harrison Plazas, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's still full, and then across there, there's a couple open spots, but I don't think they're gonna stay open long. We're next to Harbor Freight and all that. I think that's all gonna fill back up pretty quick, but we have enough inventory, I think, of the small box, the small square footage, 5,000 and under square foot, that we want. Probably 7,500 or bigger would be what we're trying to accommodate. It's just difficult to do, to get the truck traffic behind it, and still get parking out in front.
Joe, how many feet do you think that is from your curb cut in the middle to Kilby Light?
Feet, I want to say about 1,100 feet, 1,200 feet, something like that. Maybe a little bit more. Don't wait to that. We had it dead center, but with some of the changes I know that are coming, offsetting it slightly.
Well, that's
a
what
little
I
more functional.
noticed, is it did go that way more.
Yeah, just trying to not get lights, trying to keep the lights gapped properly, because that's a big issue, especially like if you're on Corn Avenue, which everybody compares to, which it's not Corn Avenue, but having the lights gapped from the get-go will fix a lot of the issues. But like I said, I think in controlling it all to one entrance onto Harrison, one onto West, that is going to consolidate a lot of that traffic. But again, the biggest thing is the feedback questions, things like that, because our initial presentations are for the feedback, so we don't have any changes we need to make or any questions, concerns, things like that.
How many acres is that where the apartments would be?
I think it's only about 3.8, 3.9 acres.
I got beat up pretty good. Speaking for myself, when we approved a development on Carolina Trace that has 90 acres and there's 241 homes on it.
Right.
You're talking about 165 or so apartments on 2 or 3 acres. Can you see where I'm gonna get beat up again?
No, I understand. Yeah, I understand. I think it's kind of those things where if it's on 3 acres or if it's on 30 acres, I don't think you're going to ever make everybody happy.
I got you.
But I think the problem is, again, I mean, you've got some of the apartments we have now, the complaints of the existing apartments that are more run down, things like that. I mean, there are no,
Would children be in these?
likely some. I mean, I can't speak for. who
That's
can
another
grant it.
thing. First thing people in Harrison think of is schools being
Right.
overcrowded, even though it's not Harrison's fault.
Yeah. Well, I can say
They're concerned about that too.
the majority from what we see is
negotiated, yeah.
a lot of young married couples and a lot of college graduates, a lot of career people that are single career, that work a lot, things like that. That's a lot of the
I got you.
folks that rent these types of units.
Yeah, my concern would also be traffic.
Yeah.
Twofold, both, how much is going out onto Harrison and Kilby, but again, only having two ingress egress points for that big of a
Right.
beast there.
Yeah.
Kind of, and it would be, I think if you had just the apartments or just the retail, maybe the two works, but combining them, just backups everywhere
Yeah.
is what I'd be concerned about. And,
Right.
And by the way, I hear you on mixed use and upscale apartments. I was telling someone a week or so ago, we really, upscale apartments in Harrison, you betcha,
Yeah.
kind of a deal. I think, assuming you can get folks to come and pay the rents for them, it would absolutely be a fabulous
Yeah.
addition. I look at stuff like, I had clients who had mixed-use developments in Loveland and in Hamilton. And just that concept and that bringing it all together, it leads to more growth and more better growth around that central kind of hub
Right.
that a mixed-use development would have. So I think you're onto something, but something there, but I'm concerned about the traffic
Right.
and the in and outs of it.
And I think
Is there a way to get over to Kilby?
That's what I was wondering.
there's
To the back.
there's potential to. We've not had that conversation is going to happen soon. It's not happened yet. That is an idea to discuss.
That's, it's just been rolling
Yeah.
through my mind, I had to say.
I mean, that would make a lot of congestion at West Road in Harrison too.
Yeah.
That's a horrible spot right now. If
Yeah,
you put
the-
160 apartments, then they're probably gonna come out on, most of them are gonna come out on West Road and then come to Harrison Avenue.
But there's a light coming there?
We don't have plans for a light there, do we?
No,
No?
actually, there's been discussion about right only on West.
And that's kind of the reason we have that. The way that entrance is, it would be stacked like that regardless to keep people from. That way, the traffic stacks in it, and it would be probably 3 lanes on the exit as well. But the other thing too to keep in mind as well is the amount of jobs coming out right now to Harrison. Plus, you got 300 to the new warehouse that is leased out, which I'm thankful for. But you think about that. I mean, that's going to be a lot of those kind of workers. Like right now, if you try to get in Shaker Point, I believe it's a waiting list. I don't know what the waiting list is, but I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing, and so that's kind of something I'm trying to keep in mind with that. Because essentially, from a zoning standpoint, there's not any B4 land, I don't think, left. I think the last 2 were on Carolina Trace, and it was both the churches that went in. I don't believe there's anything by right that's left on.
So Mayor, you're saying if they come out on West Road, you're gonna propose that they only turn right? So anybody that lives up there,
No.
that lives up there that wants to go to Kroger's, they're gonna come over to the ingress egress at Harrison Avenue and turn left?
No, where West meets Harrison Avenue,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a right only, so
So,
people will only be able to turn right.
so what I'm saying is,
Oh, okay.
so what I'm saying is all the people living in those apartments will then come down to the
All those
ingress
condos.
egress on Harrison Avenue
There.
and turn left.
Which will be a light at that point. I mean, we're strongly, the traffic study's going to demand a light.
Yeah, I would expect a light to be at the main entrance of the complex. That's why I asked distance from Kilby, because the problem that we have is the stoplight at Taco Bell, you can't put one at West Road, or they're stacked right on top of each other.
Yeah, I got you.
And we knew we would have to put a stoplight when this property ended up developing. So that's why I was asking him how big a distance we have to make sure that we have it staggered properly.
And actually, the traffic pattern on Harrison will improve with that light in totality, because it's going to control the release of vehicles down Harrison Avenue going into Harrison, which is I think a plus.
If you were cleared on this today, when would you have the retail stuff developed?
Time frame on the anchors and the outlots. I mean, it's going to be 2027. We would have to be open. At least we'd have to deliver the shell to them, because they're interior build outs.
My biggest concern is Harrison Avenue.
Yeah.
It is. I know it's gonna develop retail. It is the last piece of land that we have for good, true retail development. It's it is what's happening across the tri-state. Mixed use is what's happening across the tri-state. Ingress, egress, only having 2 of them, that's a concern, and the width of Harrison Avenue right now are my biggest concerns. Obviously residential, but you've agreed to hold on the apartment part of it. It's gonna take the city 3 years to get Harrison Avenue expanded.
Right. No, the option.
I mean, I'm kicking everybody the best that I can, but.
Right. Now I mean, if you get the TIF route on the whole development changes that somewhat from a timing standpoint. I mean, from an opening standpoint, it would be, if we designed it based around the widening of Harrison, would be, we could get the light in and set the poles, recess the poles back out of to where the new right of way would be, so it's there, the lights can still function. So we're definitely open to those things. It's just, the feedback from, we care what Harrison thinks. I mean, it's just not just the fact of getting it approved. Like we don't want to create more headache, but I mean, ultimately, I would rather be the one developing this than somebody that's not from Harrison. Like, it's just, we want to keep all this stuff in mind and develop it based around that. One thing I will say too on the traffic count, one thing we're looking at too is compared to like a retail daily traffic count, if we were to put like more boxes across there and bring those outlots down, like shrink them a little bit, the traffic count is actually triple for the retail. So it's actually a little bit less, because we looked at that, we looked at hotel options, because Harrison desperately needs a high-end hotel, like desperately. And the traffic counts were lower with this. So it's been a hard thing to try to navigate, trying to navigate around it. But if it is a hint for one, I can say for one of the places, it won't be as busy on Sunday. So I can't say that. So that is a plus. But I don't know, traffic is probably not that busy on Sundays. So.
And this whole lot is in the city of Harrison, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The
This
township,
is all ours.
the car wash on the corner that's in the township, right next
I
door.
didn't know if the house that Schultz tore down, that historical house that
Oh.
he wasn't supposed to, and the grandpa came in with a bulldozer and tore that son of a bitch down on the weekends. So you can't rebuild it. But I didn't know if that part of it was in township or not.
I think that,
All this land is in the city of Harrison.
so initially the corner was supposed to be the St. Elizabeth, that medical center was coming in 2020 or 2019. Still apparently coming in 2020. The sign's still out, but
It's halfway falling down.
yeah. But I think with all the agreements St. Elizabeth made with I think Christ Hospital and some of the state crossing stuff, that they ended up just bailing on the project. So, yeah. So, ideas, thoughts. The concerns definitely. That's a big thing for sure. Is I think the traffic. That's going to be a function of, regardless of what goes in, the traffic has to be. Harrison needs to be widened right now. I mean, even without this development, that section needs to be widened to Kilby.
No, it does. It's been on the infrastructure improvement plan for widening. Obviously, a lot of the focus has been on Dry Fork Road, getting that
Right.
made it up with the financing and making sure we're good and clean on that. But it's on the list to actually, it's on the top of the list for widening that and New Haven Road. So
Yeah,
those are the two.
Is that the way it's sequenced now? Is it Harrison then then New Haven? Is that what?
I'll take whichever one I can get moving fastest.
Oh, let's get
In my mind-
let's get it widened while Dry Fork Road's being widened and 52's closing down. Let's just do it all next year.
I was thinking doing New Haven Road, that way the eastern part of our community can't come yell at me.
So, and we're gonna put a roundabout there too, right?
Yeah.
I will say I do.
Actually, I don't have problems with roundabouts. I think when it's properly designed, I think roundabouts, when the system is properly designed and it's addressed right, roundabouts can work to your advantage.
You want to see how they're right? Just go to Carmel, Indiana.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Fishers,
Three in a row. It's just-
Joey, given what you're going to have in the outlots, have you considered sidewalks along?
Yeah, so sidewalks will be included.
Okay.
Yeah, so we would have.
Because you're going to
sidewalks
have a lot of
continue.
traffic from kids, I believe.
And that's something too, I think, like I said, regardless of the final development, the sidewalk would continue through. It would just deadhead at the end because it hits the township. But I don't know, I remember if the sidewalk go past the bicycle guy there and then see from, I can't remember if the
Does
sidewalk
what go
goes.
past?
Sidewalk, does it go to west right there, I think?
I think it goes right to the.
Somewhere.
I think it stops right
Yeah,
there.
it's either right before or right
I
after.
don't think
but-
there's one in front of the bicycle.
Yeah, I don't
No.
think there's one in front of the bicycle guy.
So if we were gonna do the infrastructure design for why, we would continue that, if it wasn't all the way to west, we would carry it across. But definitely getting Harrison Avenue walkable, that length would be really nice.
It goes right in front of Taco Bell, but it stops there.
Okay, so does stop at Taco Bell? That's not a huge deal. But I will say, just for fun, I was gonna put one up here with a bunch of Dollar Generals and AutoZones on it, but I changed my mind. Just,
So I know I didn't up on social media.
This would have been a really quick conversation. He's adding that part of the color for me.
And we have a lot more people, right?
but I didn't. So, yeah, so ultimately, what any other concerns, I mean, from I know the infrastructure is the number one concern, I think, on any development on Harrison Avenue right now. I mean, I think anything that goes on, and the other struggle is now is anything further down is now in the township, for the most part, on that side, and so all that development there, I mean, it's kind of the Wild West through there now, so that's also adversely affecting.
We
the traffic.
talked a lot about roads. What about water and sewer?
It's good.
Readily available?
Water sewer, Chief Hersong, he went through everything. They thought that it was functional, very functional for
No
fire.
no capacity
No.
issues for like an apartment?
No, it should be all be good there. That was all, and the sewer was upgraded at some point, the water through there.
Okay,
I think it's a 12-inch main through there, so it's doable. Because honestly, the fire suppression for, between these buildings and, so there's enough capacity for this and for the development across from
okay.
Kroger, so it's good there. I think it's when you get on the other side of the highways where the capacity starts to
Got
become
it.
an issue. But,
I like it, I think another entrance would, or if you can get it over to Kilby somehow.
yeah,
I think that'd be a big help.
okay. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that's when we've talked about. I don't think that'd be an issue going into the township with it. I mean, I think as long as we have the rights to it, that shouldn't be an issue going, that's a
just
Harrison
thinking
Township
if we
parcel,
can
but
get-
I don't think the city should have an
I
issue.
didn't hear the first part.
If we had an egress out to Kilby, that'd be going through a Harrison Township lot. I don't think that's gonna matter, right? That technically,
don't
as long as we have the
Think
rights.
so? Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
There's that empty lot between,
And do you have to have the apartments to make the retail work economically for you?
We don't.
Okay.
We don't. I like the idea. I mean, it's the biggest thing.
Understood.
I mean, it's not, but the problem is finding a user is gonna be, that is a problem.
Right.
It really is trying to find the user that doesn't have to have the visibility on the frontage. That does prove to be difficult.
Got it.
That aspect, but, like I said, there's some hotels that are potential, but, they wouldn't take up the landmass and they wouldn't take up the landmass, and they also, they're not, it's not exactly right off the interstate, but then again, there are not any lots really off the interstate right now in
Right.
Harrison that you could put a hotel on, I mean, directly off the interstate, so. But to get like a Hilton, like we've talked with a couple of Hilton operators that, in the area, that they love the idea of being in Harrison, and it is a huge need. I mean, it's a huge need. Right now, I think the closest nice hotels are either in Dent or downtown Lawrenceburg. It's definitely a big need.
just say that.
Yeah, it's true. That DoubleTree's pretty nice. But, so, this definitely is helpful. Like I said, trying to, this is some last minute changes from our original. So, for sure, the original, like I said, had apartments all around the back. So this is much different, but we can still modify it further. But, I don't think we probably won't have the PUD ready next. It'd probably be 2 months, I would think, before we have that at least present. So, but so we'll work on the traffic side of things, and yeah. Any other questions, comments, concerns at all? Anything?
I think we hit them all.
It's kind of cool to think about the landscape.
No
is-
gas stations.
No gas stations. Unless you want one.
No.
Buc-ee's? Buc-ee's. Would be great.
Those things are cool.
Over social media.
Wawa's and Buc-ee's and all of them.
It's not in the middle
It's
of
just-
Harrison Avenue.
I don't want another lot taken by a gas station.
Yeah, these are some uses that people have been asking for a long time, so. But landscape at Harrison Avenue is getting ready to change. I'm excited about it. I really think it's gonna be good, so.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, looking forward
Thank
to it.
you.
Yeah, appreciate the time, and we'll be back again with probably more changes, so. Thank you all.
Have a great evening, Jim.
Thanks, Joey.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jerry.
Joey. That concludes our new business. Moving on to old business. We're going to talk about the similar zoning use approval for 136 Pilot Road. Do you need to read that for the?
Do you want me to read
for
it
the-
again?
For the record?
Yeah, I can. The reason for this request is the current business use shipping container storage and alterations is not defined in the M1 restricted industrial zone as permitted or conditional use. Per section 117104D of the Harrison zoning regulations, in the case of a use that is not specifically mentioned in this ordinance, the planning commission shall classify the use of a similar nature to a use that is already listed in this ordinance. The use that is approved as a similar use shall be recommended by planning commission for additional to the permitted uses in the zoning districts previously described in this ordinance. The applicant is required to be compliant according to the Harrison zoning regulations for the zone it is located in. The current business use is not included in the Harrison zoning regulations in the M1 zone. The applicant would like to receive approval to operate the current business in the M1 restricted industrial zone. The business is operating as a shipping container storage and alterations. Alterations are being completed under a shelter, not in an enclosed building, as required in an M1 zone. Currently, the business has no plumbing, electric, water, or a building on site. Daily business operations are running out of a portable shipping container. Possible similar uses in the M1 zone are a permitted use, which would be 114307B17, other manufacturing, processing, assembling, or compounding operations possessing characteristics similar to those industrial uses listed in this section. The conditional uses possibilities are 114307C4, building materials, sales yard, lumber yard, and 114307C8, machinery and heavy equipment rental, sales and storage. The proposed use at 136 Pilot Road is not a permitted or conditional use according to the Harrison zoning regulations for an M1 restricted industrial zone, and only vaguely similar to the other uses. Again, per section 117104D, Planning Commission shall determine a use that is not specifically mentioned in this ordinance to a use of a similar nature that is already listed in this ordinance. The similar use shall be reviewed and recommended for approval or denial by the Planning Commission. In addition, the following items would need a variance approval to continue operating. All alteration work is required to be completed in an entirely enclosed building. Open storage is required to be screened, and no storage is allowed within a 50-foot front yard setback.
Thank you, Joette. Is there any discussion?
And just to be clear, all we're doing is finding the segment of our zoning code on where to categorize
Basically,
this type of business operation.
you would say that this use is similar to one of the three uses that we've listed here tonight, or that we've talked about tonight. You would say it is a similar use to this use, and then it would be permitted or conditional, however you decide.
And with conditional, we can put added guidelines.
You can approve, you can approve the use with conditions like you would,
Yes.
you know, a business. You're approving a business in this zone just like you would a downtown business, so you could put conditions on that.
And the only reason I bring that question up is because of the nature of the product that's being moved through this yard. It'll have to meet all our guidelines, fencing, everything along those lines, screening, lighting, permanent structure, everything else, but if there's any additional concerns, we can pinpoint them under a conditional use.
Right.
Where if it were in a permitted use, it would not be the same. For exterior facing shipping containers, having 48 different colors would not be optimal or visually appealing. So,
which would probably be included in the design standards for the M1. But you could put conditions on the approval. So you would put conditions on the approval. If you're going to approve it as a conditional use, then that would be approved as a conditional use, which goes away when the business leaves. So it's really how the zoning is set up. If you approve one of the conditional uses, it stays with the business until if she leaves in 5 years, that conditional use goes away. The permitted use is just the permitted use. So that's really what the conditional use is. But you can put conditions on the approval of the property, whether it's conditional or
when we
permitted.
get to that phase.
Yeah. You can also, table it and do more research if that's something you want to do too.
Yeah, I'm confused about the statute that we're operating under here. I'm reading the statute, and I'm talking 117104D, that says in the case of a use that is not specifically mentioned, we shall classify the use of a similar nature to a use that is already listed in the ordinance. Okay, so presumably we'd say container storage, and alterations is similar to some other use, but then the statute goes on to say, the use that is approved as a similar use shall be recommended by planning commission for addition to the permitted uses in the zoning districts previously described in this ordinance. So who are we recommending it to?
You would be recommending that
Building and zoning.
this use would be put into the zoning code as a permitted use.
Right, so that's exactly what I'm saying, so that we say, okay, look, we're gonna add container storage and alterations as a use under our zoning code. And we're gonna say, I'm reading this to say, okay, we're gonna add that as a permitted use somewhere in our zoning code, and we're gonna say it's similar to whatever we decided similar to, but that wouldn't be conditional use, would it? And again, it would be a permitted use, and we gotta recommend it to someone to put it somewhere in the code.
I don't know if making that recommendation is wise, because then if somebody has the resources to buy another parcel of land and turn it into a like business, I think that needs to be managed a little bit more.
Can't argue with you there.
Yeah.
I think it needs to fall into a conditional use category. And I agree, I read the first page also, and
Scratch your head
yeah,
too.
yeah. So,
I mean, this is screaming for to be considered as a conditional use somewhere. And again, it looks like we're making recommendations again, and I'm wondering recommendations to who and for what.
well, I'd assume the recommendation is to the building and zoning department to add it to part of our existing zoning code.
Which would need to be approved by council, right?
Well, that's the other reason you take it as a conditional use, because then I would think council will approve the zoning legislation change, and then any applicant that comes forward, not only would it come to planning commission, it would go before council also.
Right,
And that's the other reason that you add the layer of conditional use to it.
right. So could we then tonight, because we obviously want to give her some sort of path so she's not sitting in limbo.
It seems like the language should, instead of shall be recommended, it seems like it should say could be recommended, or if you felt strongly that this use should be put into the zoning code, you could recommend it. The word, I agree with you, the wording seems difficult.
Awkward, yes.
Yes. And I think that the goal here tonight was just to basically say your use is similar to this use, and we're going to let you operate as a similar use to this use. And that was really the end of it. But I do see this language is included. This is quoted straight from the zoning code, so I do understand your point there.
Yeah, because again, I keep on looking at the second sentence. It says, we'll make a recommendation that it gets added to the code. And that's a different process. It's, you're changing the
Right.
code.
Right.
Well, I think the recommendation could be that we consider adding it to 114307C4 to go to council.
Right,
I think that's what would be our recommendation.
yeah, and I would,
Not-
right,
I don't think it's an official motion. It'd just be a recommendation out of planning commission to potentially add it to 114307C4.
or I don't even know that we need to shoehorn it into C4. I don't know why we would.
Come up with an individual one.
Right. I don't know why we wouldn't make as a condition, as a recommendation to add as a conditional,
Add it
an
as a
additional
conditional
conditional use under 114307, container storage and alteration in the M1 district as a conditional use. Therefore, she would have a path to come through, well,
As a
first, you know,
conditional use.
first of all, we make the recommendation, it goes to zoning department to come up with the legislation, comes to, I believe.
It'll come back here for the conditional use.
For a recommendation to council to approve that change to the zoning code, who then would make the change to the zoning code. Then she would come
Begin your
through
process.
in front of us for conditional use approval under the code section that we've recommended and presumably council has passed.
Yes.
But it was explained to me that she could be approved tonight as a similar use, but then whatever that similar use is would go through the conditional use process to be added to the code. So she wouldn't really necessarily have to come back here and do this all again, because she would be approved as a similar use.
No, she doesn't necessarily have to come back for this part of the process. But we have to get it in the zoning
Right.
somewhere, and that's what they're trying to do, is pigeonhole it now. But I think we need to follow the legislative process of getting it there.
Right, right.
And then coming back.
But then
And that-
once that was approved, she would fall
Then
into
she
that?
would come back,
Oh, she would come back, okay.
because then we would have to pinpoint the particulars of the approval of operation in the M1 once council gets it approved for the adjustment in zoning code. Because until it's in the zoning code, we don't have a
We
basis to
can't,
work off of.
yeah, until it's in the zoning code, we can't approve it as a conditional use.
Okay. But
I
could
don't
you,
think-
That's,
I
at
don't
least
think-
that's my thoughts around it. I mean, I asked some, and got some good answers.
Right.
on Operations and everything along those lines, but we still need
Yeah.
to work it through.
I think the way it was discussed, and I'm not arguing by any means, I think the way it was discussed is that if you felt that her use was a similar use to one of these, that you would recommend that use be put into the zoning code, and then she would just fall into it, versus her coming back again.
No, we can't say this is a similar use, put it in the code.
I don't
Wait.
think,
right?
Who told you that?
Gordon, and, well, not Bill, really. I just told him what the
Then I think
code
we
said,
need to
and he said
propose
she
it.
can be approved as a similar use, that's all he said.
I think we need to recommend it to be tabled then until we get that clarified.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would think that it would have to go through the proper approval process to get it into the zoning and then circle back through. Because then it would come to us and then it would go to council. They would say, yes, we like this type of zoning and we do feel that it falls into 114307C5.
Right.
This is a, you know, again, this is a conditional use that we feel is appropriate in M1.
Yes. So I'd have to say that we recommend tabling it and then get it back on the agenda for next meeting,
Yeah, well, either,
unless we can't get,
either table it or make a recommendation that that legislation be adopted to add it as a conditional use. And go through that
or we could do
process.
that.
I don't, it might save her a month.
We could do it that way.
So then, what about the similar use that's on the table tonight? That's in the code? Like the first part of this paragraph, like, how would you do that?
See, and that's what we were saying, I don't know if I'd fit it into building material yard, lumber yards. I think I would build its own category,
Okay, so you would create a whole new use and have it adopted?
specific
Okay.
for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and again, I read the first sentence as saying, okay, look, we've got a use that isn't in the code. It's similar to that one over there. Therefore, we'll say, you know, I don't know why they use the word approved as a similar use. I think identified is probably a better word there than approved. But again, I obviously didn't read the code. But, you know, a use that is if you read it just for a minute, a use that is identified as a similar use shall be recommended by planning commission for addition, not additional, by the way, to the permitted uses in the zoning district previously described in the ordinance. Because again, I think we're overstepping to, say, hey, look, this is an additional use that we're going, or additional conditional use that's now all of a sudden allowed in M1. I don't feel comfortable doing that.
So like putting a square peg in a round hole.
Well, and it's overstepping too. It's, you know, if we could do that and we could approve something as being similar, why have a list of conditional uses to begin with?
Gotcha, that makes sense. Yeah.
I agree.
So that if you decide to table it, then I can do a little more zoning research on that, get a more solid answer on the path forward as to how we should go about this. From
I
our,
don't think, because the first presentation of it was March, something like that. I don't think it has to take from March to August.
it was May,
Or
yeah.
May to August. You know, I think we can move it faster, but, I still think it needs to be clarified.
Okay, and I can do that, I'll clarify it, and then we'll have a better answer as to the path forward. Okay,
So,
Motion to table.
motion to table, second.
Mr. McMurdo,
Yeah.
Mr. Wilson,
Yeah.
Mr. Graff,
Yay.
Mayor Grubbs,
Yay.
Ms. Knock.
Yay.
Okay, motion tabled.
And that is all of our business for this evening. I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Mr. Wilson,
Yeah.
Mr. Graff,
Yay.
Mayor Grubbs,
Yay.
Ms. Knock,
Yay.
Mr. McMurdo.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned.